Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar today, Fast Tracking Demand in B2B Channels. My name is Kevin Hospodar. I'm the Director of Marketing with Mindmatrix, and we have Kathy Contreras with us today, the Senior Research Director for Channel Marketing Services at SiriusDecisions. So really quick before we get started, I wanted to take a second to let everyone know that the recording for this webinar will be sent out within 24 hours. And we'll also have a Q&A session at the end. So in the GoToMeeting interface on the right side, there is a chat and a questions section. Feel free to enter any questions in there that we'll be able to address at the end. And please don't hesitate to do those as we're going through. So quick part about Mindmatrix, what we offer. We are one platform that offers PRM, channel sales enablement, channel marketing automation, and then also combines comprehensive services and concierge services to help enable all of our clients. And when I say one platform, what we look at here is that we combine everything from channel operations management through channel marketing and channel sales enablement all in one platform. So in this graphic, you can see all the small little point solution pieces that are encapsulated in our single platform. So now I wanted to introduce Kathy. So Kathy is with SiriusDecisions, and we are very lucky to have her here today. I think there's going to be a lot of great information. So as she's going through, please don't hesitate to ask any questions, and we'll cover them at the end. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you so much. Thank you for that kind introduction. As Kevin indicated, my name is Kathy Contreras, and I am a Research Director with the Channel Marketing Strategy Service at SiriusDecisions. And it is truly my pleasure today to present to you on the topic of fast-tracking demand in B2B channels. What I'm going to share with you today is a framework, a roadmap for channel organizations to drive better engagement and marketing performance with their partners. I'd like to start by first introducing you to SiriusDecisions. For those of you who may not be familiar with SiriusDecisions, we are a research and advisory firm that delivers actionable intelligence, transformative frameworks, and expert guidance that equip executives to modernize and elevate sales, marketing, and product performance. SiriusDecisions really believe that the alignment of sales, marketing, and product is a delicate balance of art and science, and the hallmark of high-performance organizations. It is this alignment that has allowed our clients to experience 19% faster revenue growth and 15% higher profitability. Our mission is to help our clients achieve this alignment through our work with hundreds of B2B organizations over the years. We continually refine our approach to help organizations achieve alignment that impacts their growth objectives. Before we get started, I think one thing that's going to be helpful is to talk a little bit about the challenges that we're seeing and the reason why we actually put this framework in place in the first place. To really understand these challenges, what I'd like to do is look at it both from a supplier perspective as well from the partner perspective. When we talk about these challenges, what we're talking about is the challenges that many companies in the channel experience related to demand creation. So when you're thinking about creating demand, providing programs for your partners to extend demand through to their prospects and their customers, we find this that many suppliers are addressing many challenges in that regard. Our clients will come to us with questions about how do they improve the MDF and co-op fund spending. Often they'll find that their balances are being unspent, that those partners, their balances actually aren't using those dollars. So those monies are sitting there unused, untapped. With that, they find that there's often a low adoption of partner marketing programs. When those partners are engaged in marketing programs, leveraging those funds, what they often find is that the performance data is not provided, so they're not getting data and insights to understand how successful those programs are, how well those investments are being extended. And even when they do get that data back, and they have partners to providing them feedback on how those programs are performing, what we often see is that there's a low return on investment. And so really looking at how do you make better investments through your partners or invest in your partners in a way where you see higher performance results related to the marketing programs you put in place for them. At SiriusDecisions, we don't just think about the supplier's challenges. What we want to do is actually understand what the challenges or the situation is with the partners as well. In order to be really successful in the channel, it's critical to understand where the partner may be challenged as well. What we've known when we look at many partner communities is that there's often a lack of resources. What we find is the majority of partners are small to mid-sized businesses with busy people stretched across multiple vendors and products. Often you'll find there may not be a marketing team or dedicated marketing resource or staff. What you'll often find is that there's an individual that's performing marketing activities but also doing other jobs within that business. With limited time and money to build effective marketing campaigns, these individuals are left on their own to try to devise how to effectively market to their prospects, their market potential, as well as their existing customer base. Even for those businesses, those partners that do have a high level of and a focused, dedicated marketing staff, what we find is that they do not have a high level of experience and skill in demand generation. So those individuals may have just learned marketing on the job through trial and error and may actually not have the access to more modern techniques and high-performance marketing techniques. So although we provide them with information on our products and the campaigns in some cases to be successful, they don't have the skills they need or resources to support that. What we also see a lot of times is the partners are challenged with the process. Whether you're MDF or co-op funding, there's usually a long process that is difficult to work with, and this may actually deter from partners from actually spending that time and investment in using those funds or balances that you're looking towards investing in marketing. And then finally, sometimes there's a lack of incentive. Again, if it's taking too much time, if they don't have the skills, if they're not sure what they're supposed to do, or they know that their results are not going to be ideal, they may not involve themselves in the process. So many supplier programs do not provide a clear vision of what's in it for me or a clear understanding of what's required or involved for significant program success. So with this, we took some time to analyze the current challenges, but we also wanted to look at what was working. So one of the first things we did was we analyzed hundreds of programs, and we really identified those that were the most successful. We looked across many industries, across multiple partnership types, and across various marketing programs and tactics. What we did as research and analysts is that we isolated those programs that were the most successful, those programs that performed best and had the highest return on investment. As we looked at this, what we found is that there were some common elements across these campaigns that led to their success over others. So those common best-in-class elements included the fact that each of those programs started with strong partner and field data. There was an element of marketing training that increased both participation and execution capability. They employed concierge-like services. The programs were pre-planned, pre-programmed. They were menu-based plays that contained fewer events and were more outcome-based. And they were predictable and measurable. So that research led to the creation of the Fast Tracking Demand in B2B Channels framework. What we have found is that when companies have adopted this framework, they have seen 60% increase in adoption rates and up to 2 to 3 times an increase in the return on investment of those spends. So let me quickly introduce to you the Fast Tracking Demand in B2B Channels. What you see on the screen here is that framework. There are 4 phases that make up the Fast Tracking Demand framework. The data collection phase, the marketing enablement phase, the demand creation phase, and then finally the performance measurement phase. Within these phases, there are 6 distinct steps that, when followed, can lead towards program success. What I'll be doing in the following slides is spending time introducing you to some examples of each of these steps and talking about what we mean and then what sub-steps are important for driving towards this success. The first step, the first phase, is data collection. And there's really 2 points to this data collection. What we find is that if you don't understand your partner's capabilities, if you don't understand who their target market is and understand how they're structured, that you won't be leaning them towards the right campaigns for success. So when we talk about understanding your partner's profile, we recommend often that this data is conducted via survey or other forms. What we want you to look at there is understand the partner type. What's their business model? Are they a value-added reseller? Are they a direct marketer? Are they an ISV? Are they a cloud app provider? Are they an MSP? Understanding their business model will help you understand the type of activities they're going to conduct and which tactics may be supporting those. Also understand their infrastructure and their skills. So from an infrastructure standpoint, understand their sales structure. What are their staffing resources? Do they have direct teams that are selling? Do they have inside sales or telesales? Also understanding the marketing. Do they have a dedicated marketing team? Do they have an individual marketer? Do they have somebody that actually is trying to perform marketing in addition to doing 3 other roles within that business? Also understand their capabilities. Where do they usually spend their time in marketing? Are they understand digital marketing techniques? Do they do account-based marketing? So understanding how they tend to invest in their own marketing efforts will help you understand where their skills may lie. Also, understanding what their target market is. What's their customer type and what's their segment? Partners that are selling to the enterprise are going to have different ways of approaching that market than partners that are selling to SMB or mid-market. Also understand if their target geographies or specific industries or verticals they focus on. The reason why this is so critical is that if you have a campaign that requires the partner to have a high level of marketing expertise and they don't have a dedicated marketing team to do this, you might not be set up for success. Also, if you're driving partners towards campaigns that require them to do a tremendous amount of lead follow-up and lead maturation, and you've identified that that partner does not have a telesales team or an inside sales team that's ready and able to take those leads on, then again, you might generate a tremendous amount of leads, but those leads won't actually transform into opportunities if there's no one there to mature them forward. It's not necessarily to say that you wouldn't do marketing with these partners. What we'll talk about in a moment is how you align the right campaigns with understanding that the situation of that partner in their entirety. The second phase within data collection, the second step, is actually thinking about the targets. So thinking about the field requirements. Is that campaign suited for major accounts, enterprise, or named accounts? If so, make sure that that campaign is set up with techniques that actually are very successful in those regards. If we look at it from a SiriusDecision standpoint, our data shows us that major accounts, enterprise accounts, some market requirements that have high return on those focus areas would include techniques like account-based marketing, influencer marketing, and relationship marketing. For example, if your partner is primarily selling to SMB, that's where their experience is, where their clientele is, that's where their capabilities exist, then you'd look at a different type of campaign. You'd look at campaigns that do demand, perhaps inbound marketing or pull marketing. So making sure that you're thinking and aligning the recommendations of which campaigns are relevant for your partners related to their target market, their field requirements, is going to actually align you for more significant success. The second phase is marketing enablement. And what we're referring to here is a number of things. The first step within that is marketing fundamentals. As we indicated earlier, one of the key criteria that we find with partners, and one of the biggest challenges, is they may not actually have a strong level of marketing skills or knowledge. This gives you an opportunity to make sure that as part of the program that you're aligning the right techniques, the right tips and tricks, the right education, so that partner has provided the information they need to be able to deliver successfully against that campaign. This might include defining for your partners the buyer's journey. It might include providing them tips and tricks on digital marketing. How do you do that well? Perhaps it's an enterprise account-based marketing type campaign. It's making sure they understand, what does that look like? What does account-based marketing mean? How do they involve themselves in that? If it's a campaign that's ideally suited to their existing customer base for upsell, cross-sell purposes, there are techniques and tricks that they may need to know to be able to be successful at doing that as well. So that first stage is making sure that your partners are receiving the fundamental information on marketing, not necessarily related to your product, but in terms of up-leveling their skills and knowledge base to be successful at delivering against that campaign. The second enablement piece is around play execution. So making it very clear for the partner what they'll need to do to complete that campaign. So before they even get started, they understand what's included in that campaign. Is it an integrated campaign that has multiple touches and multiple steps? Which part of that will the partner be doing versus what part of it will you be providing for them, or third party it will be doing through MDF funding? So making sure there's a step-by-step guide to the marketing campaign. Often this can be supported by a very strongly developed playbook. A marketing campaign playbook can be helpful. Once the partners have achieved these results, usually this can be achieved through information or even a quick webcast. What you want to do then is award them, certify that they've actually achieved the knowledge they need, and that's a perfect time to reward them. And that reward could be in the form of pre-approved MDF funds that are pre-authorized. So they don't have to go through that whole prior approval process, right? You've just confirmed the campaign that you've already put together for them, you've already designed for them. They now have the expertise they need to be able to deliver against it. They understand what's included and what's involved in that play. Perfect time to go ahead and expedite that. And actually, what we're going to talk about in a minute is that's when you actually start to involve concierge services to support them in that process. That brings us to our third phase, and that's demand creation. This is when they're actually delivering the program and making sure that it's getting into the marketplace. What's really critical in the demand creation phase is the combination of the play execution supported by proactive and reactive concierge services. What I'm going to show you first is this menu-based play. What you see here is an example of the type of menu that we recommend that partners have the option to choose from. So you might guide them to this based on their target market. You might guide this to them based on their expertise or their specific challenges. But what you really want to make sure that they're available and they understand is that you have pre-formatted campaigns. Those are prescriptively designed for success. And that you make it clear to them what the cost is of engaging that. Perhaps it's funded through MDF or through co-ops. The duration, how long will it take to perform this campaign? How long do they need to be invested in their efforts? When should they expect to see some leads generated from that so they can prime the sales opportunities that might and the sales teams that might need to support those? Be very clear about providing for them what's included. What are they going to get as part of this campaign, but also what are they expected to do as in their efforts to support that? And then what's also important is to make sure that they understand what are the estimated results. Given the understanding that if they follow things as designed, this is what they should expect to see, can help them define what does that mean in terms of matching to their needs. That might drive their interest in one campaign versus another. This is where concierge services can be critical, helping them to guide them to the right campaign, helping them to plan for that, providing together some of the support needed to start the efforts of driving those campaigns, as well as even delivering against that. When I mentioned earlier that we often recommend that a company understands the partner's profile. This is where you might drive a specific partner to a campaign based on it might include teleservices, and you know they don't have an inside sales staff or a telesales staff to manage that lead management piece of the equation. You might find that they don't have a robust marketing team or marketing resources. So you might actually help to have the concierge service actually drive them towards a campaign that includes a third-party marketing agency as part of that cost in order to deliver that for them. Again, those partners are usually very strong at what you want them to be strong at, recommending solutions and selling product. They may not be strong at marketing. They may not be strong at lead maturation, right? So you want to make sure that you're matching those up accordingly. When we see in the concierge services, it really is everything that you think may need to happen to support those partners. And also making sure there's a touch base. What we often find is a lot of times partners will stall in the process. And if they don't have somewhere to go or someone to sort of prompt them to move forward, they may actually just diminish their effort in that focus area, and you won't see a return on that investment. So this might include anything from list support, play management, perhaps content development, teleservices support. It could be event support, maybe thank you or reminder touches, or even updates on metrics and measurement. Again, the concept here is that these things will be sub-funded through the campaign cost. One thing we look at when we talk about these menu-based plays is that there are some ways that you can actually enhance these. So as we look at this, what you see here is a larger version of the menu-based play, and then what I'm going to bring on top of this is some examples of how you might want to enhance this. So what we often recommend is that consider adding in additional columns or rows that help it make it easy for the partner to self-identify which play is relevant for them. Perhaps indicating here which play is most relevant or campaign is most relevant for a specific target market segment. Perhaps some are more valid in one region over another. For example, we find that partner events that partners are hosting to drive customer activity don't often perform a strong ROI, or they often choose to want to invest in that way because that's how they've done in the past. But that might be different regionally. We do see that that's still a high return on investment tactic from a marketing perspective in certain regions like Asia Pacific. It also may be based on the maturity. Again, as I indicated, some of these campaigns will be pre-formulated to include teleservices and or a third-party marketing agency to perform some of those marketing tasks for the partner. If your partner has deficiencies or doesn't have resources in this area, that's where you might want to direct them and make that clear on the play that that's ideally suited for those partners that don't have those skills or that focus area. Finally, we recommend also considering expanding these plays to include not just the estimated result, but really clearly outlining for the partner what the proof of performance requirements are for reimbursement, as well as requirements that are beyond those proof of performance requirements for reimbursement. Those requirements, those metrics are going to help you to evaluate the return on investment of those programs so that you can become further refined in your estimated results and become more predictable as you move forward into what that return will be for these partners, depending on those campaigns that they engage in. That brings us to our final phase. Phase 4 is around performance measurement. So one of the keys to having success in any program is tracking and measuring what's working and what's not. When we look at performance measurement, we're actually looking at a number of different things. We want you to think about measuring the campaign return on investment campaign by campaign. So what are the costs per leads? How many leads are generated at different lead qualities? Marketing qualified leads, sales accepted leads, sales qualified leads. What are the number of registered deals or closed deals? So the more data you can collect, the better you can analyze true metrics of success for that campaign, determine which ones are worth investing in, which ones you might want to take off of your menu of opportunities. The other is looking at metrics of partners. Where are your partners spending their time? How many partners are participating in your program overall? Are you seeing adoption rates going up? How many partners are utilizing their MDF? Again, the goal here in some cases is to increase the utilization of the MDF and co-op funds that the partners have in their account balances. Also, as you start to have certifications with partners on those marketing fundamentals, start tracking how many marketing certified resources are. The stronger your partners are at marketing, the better they're going to be at driving business forward. So that investment actually pays off on both sides of the business. And then finally, one of the ultimate goals is to start to analyze what your marketing return on investment is, the impact of channel marketing on the overall business, thinking about the contribution to pipeline, the impact to pipeline. What's really essential is measuring this not just at the end of a program, but doing as much as you can measuring throughout the programs. Again, finding opportunities to improve and doing course corrections as necessary.
And yeah, Kathy, that's a great slide there, and kind of paired back to the slide before when we were talking about recommended spends per channel or per activity. You mentioned being able to realign. As a vendor, I'm sure there's a lot of money that gets put into these MDF funds, and there's having a platform that can really gauge these things. So having real-time analytics, we've seen with a lot of our customers that they're able to jump in and not just wait till the end of a campaign. They're actively optimizing, measuring, and readjusting to meet market needs. So everything can be planned out from as you hit go, but as campaigns progress, that there's need for realignment. So that's a very important thing we've seen with those analytics and having the campaign information in real time to be able to make those decisions.
Yeah, and one thing that, Kevin, that's a great point. I think one thing that we've seen is that when we have our clients actually adopting this process, a number of our clients over the years have adopted this process and actually put it into place across our partner base, we always recommend they start with a pilot so they can closely evaluate the success, identify areas for improvement, and determine where there may be items they need to optimize.
Yeah, and also too, when you have this, that you're able to get buy-in across the whole organization. Having visibility and having all these analytics and all this information in one platform, we found that the clients who use it and really utilize it to its fullest have seen increased revenue and increased results by being able to have everyone bought in and make everything very transparent and all the information visible through the entire campaign.
So I've just introduced you SiriusDecisions Fast Tracking Demand and B2B Channels framework. And what I'd like to do is also expand on those concepts to talk about some additional considerations, really thinking about establishing campaign playbooks and then creating alignment for channel success. When we look at channel campaign playbooks, one of the things that we do is recommend that a couple key areas be covered in those. And these can be done either through documentation. They can actually be included within a CMM platform like Mindmatrix, an enablement platform, or it can be done through an online microsite. But what's really important here is to assign these for campaign-specific enablement necessary for all the partner personas in mind. So I want you to think beyond marketing. There's information that's required and necessary, not just for marketing when it comes to a campaign with partners, but also the sales and pre-sales engineers or subject matter experts that are going to be involved in maturing those leads to opportunities. One of the things to think about here is introducing the partner what the opportunity is for them, right? Why should they care? Why is this, and actually marketing to the partner the value of this campaign. Believe it or not, that's something you often need to do is think about marketing to the partner, what's in it for them, and what the value is, and who is this ideally suited for? Is this suited for partners that are in certain regions or segments, or partners that have certain capabilities? The next is to provide a high-level overview of the opportunity. What is the campaign targeting? Who is the target audience? Are there buyer-specific persona profiles that you can provide? What are their titles? Where do they spend their time? What are their watering holes? What are their key issues or needs? Are there target market segments that are relevant? Is it specific to a certain vertical or horizontal? Also starting to include the product and solutions that are going to be covered in the campaign. Here you often want to provide quick links for more information if they don't know this product well, or if they want to do some tutorial training so they understand as they get, especially on the sales enablement side, they have the information they need as they start to follow up on these leads. That's a great place to include that. But in the playbook itself, we recommend including just a quick overview as well as some features and benefits related to the campaign itself. But then also think about expanding beyond that to include for the partner some solution recommendations. Are there complementary offerings for cross-sell upsell? This might be true within your own portfolio of products or perhaps in a complementary solution. Again, thinking that partners often sell more than one supplier solution, you can show them a total opportunity that is part of your solution and maybe expands beyond that, that actually may interest them and add more profitability for them. Then we really think about the play and campaign details. So what are the key messages included in this campaign? What are the components, and are you aligning those to that buyer's journey? And then are there links to additional information? Are there product trainings or tools that are going to be helpful for them in this process? Also providing a quick visual, perhaps thumbnail images of the assets and deliverables included, as well as the process. That's where we look at that process piece. What's included in this campaign? How many touches? What's the duration? Are there execution tips that you're recommending? And then finally, what I've seen some companies do really well is really provide a deployment checklist by stage. What do you need to do with a little box to check it off before, during, and after execution of that campaign? Finally, consider adding additional information. What does the partner need to do to get started? Do they need to go through a certain level of requirements? Is there a prerequisite? Is it something they can just sign up for? Are there SLAs they need to agree to in terms of how they're going to manage those leads that they generate? Perhaps good information about how to get them inspired. Are there incentives beyond perhaps MDF or co-op funding that you're going to include in this, or is this something that's going to be pre-approved if they do use co-op or MDF funding? And then one thing to keep in mind is make it easy for them to get help. Often we'll find that there'll be a great campaign, but if a partner has questions, they don't know exactly who to go to get those questions answered, to make sure that those are covered.
And Kathy, I'll jump in too. One thing about playbooks, I think that playbooks have a lot more familiarity with people on the direct sales side, but on the channel side, we've seen them rolled out and been very effective for not only the general piece of that they're scalable. Once you're able to find a program that works and you're able to roll it out and do the testing like we talked about earlier, it's all standardized and all the information is right there. There's no gap of information transfer, and all the standardization is across the entire organization. So these really lead to a scalable process where you can pull more and more partners in to be successful.
Our next area of focus that I want to make sure that we highlight is aligning for success. And here we're really talking about thinking beyond marketing. A lot of times your campaign development is specifically suited towards the partner's marketing team or representative, right? You're going through the planning, you're doing the enablement for them as we talked about, following the fast tracking model. You're looking at the execution, ideally supporting that through Contreras services and actually focusing on the measurement, so doing the performance measurement. Where I often see that there's rooms to optimize is to think beyond marketing and to pre-plan and prepare for sales enablement of that campaign. So as Kevin, if you could just build this out, what you'll see is as you look at that campaign timeline, there are going to be key points in time that you've been looking at in terms of rolling these out. If you extend beyond that, you think about what you need to do to prepare that partner's marketing representative so that they are aligning their efforts with engaging and enabling their sales counterparts within that partner to be successful at moving these campaigns forward. Again, thinking beyond lead generation through lead maturation all the way to close deal one, right? You really want to think about the revenue impact in the pipeline. So Kevin, if you can move that one step further, what you'll see here is really starting to think about preparing that marketing individual to be able to provide for their sales counterpart within the business the enablement they're going to need. Again, that campaign playbook can be set up in such a way that it meets the needs of all personas. Are they getting the fundamentals they need from a sales perspective? Do they understand the messages and what those leads are reacting to? What I often see a lot of times, there's so much focus on the marketing that once those leads are generated, they're passed to sales, and sales may not actually understand what that lead reacted to, what their interest level was, why they were interested in talking to that company. If that happens, your lead fall off is going to be high, right? That individual as a prospect experience is going to be low if they went through a whole process of reacting to something, and then when they talk to sales, all of a sudden it's like they have to repeat what they did and why they were interested in the first place. So making sure that you're pre-planning and aligning the efforts, not just with marketing, but with sales, and then defining specifically what that process looks like, when it should be introduced, but also aligning it to what performance metrics you're hoping that sales is going to be collecting and cataloging as well.
Thanks, Kathy. I just wanted to come back one time to address this graphic that I introduced in the beginning, but it'll probably make more sense now too. Through those detailed campaigns and these detailed steps that Kathy's gone through, we've seen a lot of clients who've tried to do that with point solutions and tried to jump in and out of different solutions in different places to get all this information. Where we've really seen success, and our clients have seen a lot of success, is being able to have all of these pieces on one platform. There's no longer a need for point solutions. There's no longer a need for information gaps. Having this all with central visibility is really the key to success in getting a lot of these channel programs up and running. So just wanted to touch back on this. And again, this will be all included in the deck that we send out after the webinar tomorrow too. So wanted to jump through here to just our last bit of some of the key takeaways of some of the stuff that Kathy's covered today.
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, some key takeaways. What we do is we recommend leveraging this model as a roadmap for driving better engagement and marketing performance with your partners. We've seen that our clients that have actually instituted this in their process have seen tremendous results. Also, consider providing partners with pre-packaged campaigns to ensure supplier-funded programs are designed for success. As we mentioned, that first step of collecting that partner data and identifying the field requirements is absolutely essential. So it's an area that you don't want to skip. Make sure that that's something you're focused on, understanding who your partners are, what their capabilities are, and aligning that appropriately. Want to make sure you provide the partners the enablement required to support demand execution. We often find is that employing concierge services can be a critical facilitator in driving for performance and success. And we also see is that over time, they need less and less support from that regard, so that actually that investment up front actually pays out in a long way. Across this entire experience, make sure you're measuring and tracking performance for continual improvement. And finally, don't forget about the campaign playbook best practices, but really encourage partners to think beyond marketing and think about enabling for sales success as well.
Kathy, thanks for those takeaways and covering those. So we are at the end of our presentation, but we wanted to leave enough time for some Q&A. So over on the right-hand side, you'll see the questions section. If you want to go ahead and enter some questions, but I really want to take a second here too to thank Kathy. A lot of great information. So thank you for joining us today to put those in there. If there's any questions or anyone has any other follow-up too and doesn't want to put it in through the chat box, please feel free to reach out on the email address that you received your login information for this webinar, or visit us at mindmatrix.net, and we'd be happy to show off anything more here. So, but yes, the slides and the video recording will be sent out within 24 hours, so that will come through your inbox. But we're going to take a second here very quickly to go through some of these questions and answer a few. So, looks like one of the questions was dealing with the concierge services of how those are provided, or where we've seen those these rolled out. So I have our answer. Kathy, do you have any perspective there from the industry of how you've seen these concierge services provided?
Yeah, I'll do it quickly, and then I'd love to hear how you would recommend that as well. So what we see from a SiriusDecision standpoint, that there are 3 different ways that these are usually provided. They're either provided through the in-house supplier's marketing staff or resources, but they're often don't want to staff that up, right? So they don't want to necessarily take on the onus internally. We often see when they're going to outsource it, they're also through their vendors, so through the platform vendors that are supporting this, much like Mindmatrix, because not only do they know the platform well, but they usually deeply involved in creating those campaigns and supporting those so they understand the nuances and the requirements there. And from a third-party perspective, the other offering we often see is that it might be provided through a channel marketing agency. And again, the agency often closely aligns with those platform vendors like Mindmatrix to make sure that they have that expertise around the platform to be successful.
Yeah, and that's one thing we've seen with our clients of that there's a range of people who come in with a very strong internal marketing department or people that come with a very a stripped down department as well. So what we actually offer to our clients are these concierge services to get you up and running. One, to set up the campaigns and set up these playbooks and get these things going, but at the same time too to fill in the gaps that you may have in your marketing department. For the concierge services, it's not really a one-size-fits-all. It's really a custom fit to your needs or to the vendor's needs. So what you want to look for there is to look for a provider or a partner that has experience in the industry. I know on our side here we work with over 800 different MSP clients or partner clients. So we have the insight of campaigns that work and the cadence and how to do that lead generation, how to enable them. And we've even seen now that there's a lot of the vendors who are willing to, through MDF or through some kind of subsidization, that they're willing to help enable their partners to be more successful. So I think that that's one of the most important things is to make sure that you're setting your partners up for success through playbooks, through all the things we talked about today, but also through these concierge services and really helping them along the way. So another question here that we've got coming in, what is the best process for collecting partner data?
Oh, that's a great question. We spent a lot of time with our clients on this. We wouldn't recommend just a single process. We did indicate in here that often is done through surveys. It's something you can send out, especially as you're starting to collect it for the first time. You can send out surveys to your entire partner base, or you can make it a requirement when they actually go through the process of recommending leveraging those funds or applying for campaign adoption, have them complete that data. For partners that you may have a close relationship, those partners that might be top tier or that are managed partners, those that might have a business relationship with you where you have a quarterly business review, that's a great way to gather those insights. As you should be close enough to those managed partners that you should be asking these questions. You should be looking at it on a quarterly basis and updating your database. So there are a couple different ways you can also, if you're going to start doing this sort of across the continuum of your partner base, you can also, in addition, add it to your list of partner questions when you actually have partners register for your program. And again, I always want to make sure that what companies understand is that we're not recommending not to do marketing campaigns with those partners that don't have marketing skill sets, that don't have telesales or have some of those capabilities. They're still incredible partners to drive demand through and that potentially great partners for thought leadership. We just want to make sure you do is you understand what the partner's capabilities are so you can either drive a path for enabling them to be stronger in certain areas or support that, or that when you align campaigns for them, you make sure you align campaigns that align to their needs, right, so that you're set up for success.
Great, thank you very much, Kathy. We had one more question too that came in very at the beginning whenever we talked about partner challenges, and that we do a lot of focus on technology, but asking if these findings and kind of these same issues are the same through sales agents or dealers or distribution channels, not just in the tech space. And I can say from Mindmatrix that while we do have a lot of tech clients, we also have a lot in manufacturing, and we have a lot even on the sales enablement on the direct side as well. So I think these challenges, and Kathy can speak too, that I think these challenges are universal. I think that when you look at what was discussed today, that these are not specific just to the tech industry. I think this is applicable information to any type of distribution or manufacturing channels, anything that's not just tech, that this is applicable on a universal scale. So Kathy, I'm not sure if you guys have any experience outside of the tech channels or the tech industry of if you've seen these same types of challenges.
Yeah, I love that question came in, and I'm glad we're taking time to respond to it. We work not just with high-tech clients. We work with those companies that are manufacturing, work with healthcare clients, financial and telco. When you look at almost any B2B business, with the exception of service-only businesses, most of them do have some partnership relationships where it would make sense to market to, through, and for your partners. So what you'll find, though, is that partner challenges are going to apply to usually the smaller partners. You might have some partners like distributor partners, direct market resellers, or larger strategic relationships, whether they be dealers or others that might have marketing organizations. Again, that's key to understanding that profile, right? So when you identify that certain partners may actually have a very large, robust marketing organization, they may have the right infrastructure, they may have the right teleservices focus, that's fantastic, right? Collect that data, understand that, but make sure you're just using that information inside as you align the right campaigns to them. One thing to keep in mind, though, is even companies, so those partners, regardless of industry, again, you'll find often they come into sizes of where they have a large install marketing staff, or they might have a dedicated resource, or not a dedicated resource at all. I usually see 3 different continuums there. Even those that have a large dedicated marketing staff, they may be a large business, sometimes even larger than your own business. What you want to do is make sure you're measuring the success of the investments they're making in marketing. So especially if you're funding it through MDF and co-op, because they might be doing marketing the way they've always done it, you want to make sure that that's aligned with the results you're seeing. If it's better than you're seeing, fabulous. Look at that, try to understand why and extend that across other partners. But if it's not, hold them accountable to that. If it's your dollars that they're funding it, make sure that you're holding certain expectations in terms of driving them towards campaigns that prove out success.
Great. Thank you, Kathy, and thank you everyone who's submitted some questions. I know there are a few specific ones that deal directly with some more feature-based things that we can follow up with directly. But I wanted to take the time to thank Kathy. Really, some great information. If there are any other questions, or if anyone would like to reach out, again, the recording will be provided within 24 hours along with the deck. And please visit mindmatrix.net or respond back to the email invite that you received with any questions. So, Kathy, once again, thank you very much. This was a great piece of content, and thank you everyone who joined, and have a great day.
Thank you, Kevin.